Hey everyone, today I'll be repairing my AXN floater jet after a recent crash which caused this nose to crack pretty badly. So I'll do my best repairing it and showing you step by step how I get to this. So let's get to it. First of all, I removed all the electronics, pushed it back a little bit, and I secure it with a little piece of tape so it doesn't get in the way. There, should do the trick. Well then, I'll just have a look at what is broken. It seems to be quite a lot. The whole nose came loose. You see it's really badly deformed because I've actually crashed it a bit more often than just this once. That's why I call this a trainer. So I'm a novice pilot. And novices crash quite a lot, and that's all part of the learning process. So now, first of all, there's rips, tears everywhere. The whole nose is fractured and it's really deformed. So I'll try and repair this with some hot glue from my really cheap hot glue hobby gun. Some of this glue, super strong glue. I've repaired it more often with this, and it seems to work just fine. So, now, first of all, let's see if I can just remove the whole front of it. Oh, there we go. Don't really need a knife for that. Just a little cut through here. There. And remember that if you want to glue a tear is much easier to glue because it's a rough surface and it sticks better than just a flat surface. So better repair a rip than a cut. So if you want to remove something and don't want to do it too bad, damage it too badly, you can just rip through the last little bit. And now I cut it here, but just for a little demonstration. Alright, now you see this nose is really deformed. It's supposed to be kind of pointy and round. So what I can do is heat it up a little bit to get it back in the form, but don't heat it up too much because it's, of course, it's foam. And foam melts when you heat it too much. Still a lot of sand on it, so clean it up first. Now I got my hot air gun from the 80s, I think. So it's pretty old, but hardly ever been used, so works just fine. Just easily heat it up a little bit, but not too much, so it doesn't melt. Now if you just push it into shape a little bit, you can see here that it's starting to bulge. It means that I've heated it up a little bit too much, but nothing serious. I'll just hold it in shape. That's a little bit better. At least a little dent in the bottom here is kind of gone now. So. And it feels a lot stiffer again. So this really works well for this kind of foam. It's EPO foam, by the way. So. Now, first tear, this piece. Take my old hot glue gun. Just give it a little dab of glue, not too much. Since this is a really cheap, cheesy gun, I have to be quick with it because it doesn't heat up that much, so that this glue dries a little faster than with a good hot glue gun. So that's kind of a disadvantage if you have to glue large surfaces, because by the time you've glued it all in, the first part of the glue is already dried, so it doesn't always work that good. But for a small plane like this and small repairs, it's just fine. Now just hold it in place. There, that should do the trick. Now fill up these cracks with a little bit of hot glue, so it gives it a little bit more stiffness. Now I always smear out the hot glue. You need some heat-proof fingers for this, but for this gun it's not that bad, because as I said, it doesn't heat it up that much. Now fill up the cracks with some hot glue. This nose of the plane has cooled down, and now I can really feel that it's gotten back to its old sturdy self. It's a lot harder now. I can push it and doesn't even move anymore. So the heat gun really works well for this. Don't do it too often, because then the foam will get too hard and it'll start to crack. So, and since I live in the Netherlands, it doesn't get too hot here, not even in the summer, so hot glue works fine here. If you live in a hotter area like I don't know, southern Spain or Texas or whatever, where it can get really hot, then don't use hot glue. Use different kinds of glue. Now this is really hardened well. This is the first part I glued, so it's perfect. So it's starting to get back into shape. Alright, now, so much for the nose for now. Just let it cool down a bit. Let's get rid of this. Building the FT Versa here, so I got some templates lying around, and since I'm kind of a messy builder, I got everything lying around all the time, but hey, I'm used to it, so works well for me. Now let's get to the plane. This is a bit harder to handle because the wings are not detachable, so I have to just lug it around, attached to the fuselage. Now first of all, we'll have to get this shape back that it's supposed to be in. So a good tip, oh, push my printer here, I'll switch it off. Now a good tip, get an old broken prop. This is a carbon fiber prop, it's really sturdy, and use the broken blades. No, stop. Use these broken blades to reinforce, whether it's the outside or maybe on the inside. Just make a little notch in here so that this will fit, and then you can make this really sturdy again, because this is, yeah, it's very, very floppy. This side is a bit better, but this side is really floppy because it's torn and cracked and broken, and so. But first I'll get to gluing it back together, and then later on I will install these prop halves to make it a bit more solid. Stick this down. Now, first start heating it up so that we can get it back into shape. Time to glue the nose back on. Now for this process, this tape kind of came loose because of the heat, of course. Yeah, forget about it. Just tuck this back a little bit, wrap it around the pan servo. Now, where's my nose? Here it is. Let's see if it still fits nicely. Still a little bit of a dent in here, so I'll have to heat this up before I start gluing it. Now, let's get some glue. Now, I'll be using the other glue on this joint as well, because it has to be really strong, of course. Because the first crash after this, it might just snap off if I only use hot glue. So, just a few dabs to get it in place, because hot glue really sticks much quicker. A few dabs of hot glue should do the trick. I have to be quick about it because, as I said, it dries pretty fast from a cheap little hobby gun. Now, here we go. Just put the nozzle of this tube right in there. And just push it in. Squeeze it real gently so I don't use too much glue. Because too much glue doesn't necessarily mean you'll get a stronger joint. And you should always test whether, when using this kind of chemical glue, if it doesn't melt your foam, because if it does, then you're kind of screwed. So always use a little bit of a test piece somewhere where it doesn't matter if the plane melts a little bit. But it's best to test it always before going ahead and just gluing everything together. Because then after the glue is dried and you come back and your plane looks half the size, it means it's not really that glue resistant. Now, turn it around and do the bottom part of the plane. Smear it a little bit, give it a bit of a skin. Remember, after I'm done with this glue and it's set, then I will pack this plane in extreme packing tape, just like here, because that really gives it a lot more sturdiness. It's like laminating the plane, but only with tape. Still, it's not perfect, you know, as you know, it's a little bit crooked. But I can fix that later on with a little bit of heat. Now, actually, drying this is also easy with a little bit of hot air. Makes the surface dry much easier. And it's going pretty well. Now, for now, I will start with a little bit of tape. See what's left on this roll. To keep it informed. Might be pulling this off later, but I'm going to do it nice and tightly so that the surface becomes rather flat. There, that works. There, got a new skin. Now it's starting to shape up a little bit. It's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. I'm not a perfectionist, as you can tell by the rest of my plane. Tape everywhere. Gray tape, black tape, extreme packaging tape. I don't really care that much. Now, as you can see, the shape's kind of back. I'm satisfied with this, so I think I'll let the glue cure for now on the outside, and then fill up a little bit of the gaps on the inside, because I can still see some cracks that aren't completely filled, like this one. And there we have it. One AXN back in shape. Now let me find the canopy to see if it fits. There we go. Take all the electronics off here, because I have to stick them in to see if it fits. There we go. Now, almost back to its original form, so yep, I'm satisfied. I'll let this cure for now, and then I'll get back to you later on. Okay, so it's cured quite nicely. There's still a little bit of flex in it, but I'll get to that now by using the old prop parts. So, I think I'll be putting them on the inside here, so they don't show on the outside. That should give it a bit more sturdiness. So first of all, I'll have to remove the ribs on the inside here. They used to provide it sturdiness, but they seem to be kind of floppy now, so just gently cut through. Now let's see if it fits. There we go. Nice and snug. Now push it back so it reaches the part that has the most flex in it. It seems to be doing a lot better. Alright, now since I know that it fits, I'll get some hot glue on it first, sand it, or at least get it a little bit rougher so that it sticks better. Just scrape it with a knife or use sanding paper or whatever you have lying around. Remove a bit of paint on the edge. And that should be sufficient. Now some glue on there, not too much, but then a bead of it. And there we go. Now stick it in place. Push it down firm. And just hold it in place for about 30 seconds or so. Should be enough to make the glue cure enough. Still a little wobbliness, but that'll change when I get the other side in. Now for the other side. So I'll fit it in there like this. Now nice and shapely. Looks good. Still a bit wobbly this way, but this way is perfect. Now the next step is to pack it in packaging tape. This stuff, fiber tape, and it works really well. It's very strong. So first, we'll take about the length of the whole nose. Stick it starting from the side of the plane. Just gently press it down. We'll be heating it up later to make it stick even better. Now you see here's that duct, there's a hole for the air to flow through to cool down the ESC on the inside of the plane, so I'll leave that open. a small hole in there. There we go. Now, take my heat gun. And also, if you heat it up, it'll form nicely to the form of the plane. Now just rub it in firmly so it'll stay good. Now next piece, other side. There we go. That's one side done. Now for the nose. Just grab a piece. I want this to be nice and solid, so I'll add an extra layer to make it really solid. It's a bit like laminating, but only this is less work, a bit cheaper. Actually, not sure if it really is cheaper because this is quite expensive, a roll of this stuff. But now I'm going to use some regular duct tape on the bottom first. First of all, this duct tape sticks better to the foam than the packaging tape. And the packaging tape sticks well to this duct tape. So that'll give it a bit of a good surface to land on, especially around this area. So, two strips of packaging tape, each one side should do the trick. Straight down the middle. Now I'll give it a few cuts here so that it shapes well to the round forms of the plane. Make sure you stick down the rear part first and then let the other part overlap the front part, because if the plane lands, you land in dirt, then the dirt will just go over instead of in. So rub it from the inside to the outside. There we go. And it's a nice solid surface. Now, and there we have it. Seems all nice and solid. So, see, it's not completely straight, but I don't care. Doesn't have to win any beauty prizes. As long as it's functional, and that's what it is right now. So. Next step, see if the battery still goes in easily. There we go. Yep, fits perfectly. So, that's about it. One more thing. The AXN is really a well-built plane. One thing I didn't like was that little notch that came with the plane, where this used to hook into, because first first nosedive into the ground and it just snaps off and then it's gone. And then it doesn't hold it down anymore. So there's two things you can do. You can order new ones, or you can just do what I do. Put in a piece of Velcro. And this works really well. It'll stick down even better than the original latch that came with the plane. And that's of course really easy to do. You just cut off a straight piece of Velcro. There we go. On the inside I still have the old Velcro, the soft piece, and it's okay. Clean it up a little bit because it's been eating some dirt lately. But it still sticks well. So now, then I just put this piece in here, stick it down onto the canopy, cut it into shape. See if it fits before I stick it down. The magnet's still there, so that'll keep it nice and snug. Now, this looks nice on this side, other side as well, so fits perfectly. Peel it off. Let the magnet touch. No, and then center it where the nuts used to be. And stick it down firmly. And it really holds well to this tape. So, now there we go. Now I can just take it off. And there we have it. Nice clean canopy fitting. Now if you want, you can also use this method on the back side. But since I still don't always trust the Velcro, I always just use a rubber band all the way to the back. That'll hold it down. And since my camera is fitted here, I can't put it on right now because I'm filming with it. It's a Mobius. You can just stick it on here and it'll stay nicely out of view. So, well, that's about all for the repair job. All I have to do now is test fly it. So, stay tuned because that's the next step. Now I'll be doing a quick test flight to see how it flies, and I better hurry up because it might start raining any minute. Big clouds coming in, so let's make it a short flight. That was a really short flight. But the nose held really well. That was kind of a good test. A little dirty, but it's nice and strong. Seems like the trim is a bit off, so. Give it one more try. As you can see, after nose diving, no damage. It's still strong. No cracks, nothing. All good. Just dirt. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.